You're no stranger to reality television competitions, having won Big Brother and competed on the Challenge USA and Big Brother Reindeer Games. But the Anonymous is such a unique, fast-paced concept where players are being eliminated each day. In most shows that you participated in, you have time to adapt and evolve your strategy. How did this fast-paced environment affect your game?
It was like if they took kind of the social and strategic aspects to some degree of Big Brother and put it at like Reindeer Games pace. Because
Yeah.
Reindeer Games, it was every single day. And Santa just didn't, he just wanted me in all the showdowns. I don't know why. He hates me so much, but he did. The pace, it's very fast paced. It doesn't give you a lot of time to think strategically. So when you are thinking strategically or when you're in the hideout, you really got to be intent. You got to be on. You got to be analyzing. You got to be thinking. You got to be using every single nugget of knowledge that you receive into your gameplay, into your strategy. And so for me, I found it interesting. I knew it was going. I would say this game stretched me and challenged me more socially and strategically than any other game I've played.
Mm.
Um, which I found enticing because I think the the thing with me is a lot of people think that strategically or socially I don't really like do that stuff as much, or I've heard these things before. So I think it'll be for me. I was like, I like that there's a concept that's never been done before. We kind of get to be the
Yeah.
blueprint being the first season, and like every single show I've done up to this point has been a different show. Like I've never done the same show twice. And this
Yeah.
is another show to kind of add. And it also challenges me as a player. Like I ultimately want to see how good of a reality TV competitor just across the entire genre that I can be. And I'm only going to learn that if I keep trying out these different concepts that force me to kind of elevate my game as a player.
I feel like you're such a well-rounded player where you are a comp beast and you also have that strategic mindset. But when you're a past winner of any show, you're immediately seen as a target and threat. But you made that decision really early on to tell the fellow players that not only have you competed, but you've also won. What was the thought process behind revealing that information? Did you ever consider hiding the fact that you were a winner?
Oh, Kevin, I was banking on hiding the fact that I was winning. I did not want to tell them that. I haven't seen the episodes. So I don't know how you guys saw me divulge it to them or if you guys know what
Mm,
led to that happening. But so night one, it happened to me on Big Brother. It happened to me on Big Brother with Derek Frazier. He called out my profession like week one. Luckily, no one listens to Derek. But on this show, night one, Dylan, we're in the orange room. It's just him and I. He comes up to me and he's like, "Psst, you know I know who you are, right?" I was like, no, this is
uh,
my I because at that point in time I hadn't told anybody my reality TV history. I
yeah,
told Robbie that I was a lawyer. Like I told him what I did for a living just in case someone knew. Because it was like if someone knows who I am and I lie about being a lawyer, they're gonna sniff it out. So I was like, let me say I'm a lawyer, see if anyone feel it out. And thus far, no one had came forward. After Dylan told me that, I was like, okay, Dylan knows. I can either trust Dylan to keep it to himself, which he might have. But then I was like, there's probably other people here who may know and just
yeah.
aren't telling me and are waiting for us to get in that chat and then literally blow my game up day one.
Mm.
So I told everybody because I was like, this way, anyone who was planning to kind of use my reality TV pass against me is kind of like a checkmate. Well, Uno reverse. Like
Yeah,
so
that's so
yeah, that's the
smart.
only reason why I was really hoping no one knew who I was. I mean, Brittany didn't know who I was, and we are from the same show. So like, I was really banking on no one knowing who I was. And then it's funny because after I told people who I was, like several people came out and said they knew who I was. So I was like, yeah, that was definitely the move that I needed to make because a lot of people had it just tucked away in their back pocket and could have used it in the anonymous chat or like
Yeah.
to give you another angle, let's say I trust that Dylan's going to keep it to himself. If it then went in the chat and it got divulged who I was, my thinking is like, oh my God, Dylan just outed me. But really, it could have been anybody who had that knowledge that just didn't divulge it to me. So in this way, it was just able to take that kind of grenade off the table.
You know what's also so interesting is that Andy reveals his involvement in Fry Fest, and everybody is like, well, he doesn't need the money. How are you able to not only tell them that you won, but also minimize your threat level?
There are two types of threats. You have like the obvious threat and like the person that's definitely a threat. They're a gamer, but no one really knows. Um, when you're like the obvious threat, which I would say I kind of fall into that category on most shows that I go on, the goal isn't necessarily to try to talk your way out of like being a threat. It's more so like that voice that's telling them he's an obvious threat, get rid of them. You're just trying to like stay away. You're just trying to give people reasons. Like, even though I'm a threat that can be used to your benefit. So, like, hey, I've been on these shows before. Some of you guys are new. Let me try to help you out, give you a little
Mm.
bit of, use my brain to help you out. Hey, we need to add money to the pot. I've done a couple of competitions in my day. I'm here. I can help you guys add money to the pot to make sure that you're walking home with a lot of money in your pockets. Hey, I'm everyone knows I'm one. There's always going to be a reason to get rid of me. So if you ever get put at risk, you want me standing next to you. Like, so many different ways in which you can kind of turn it into your favor. And then
Yeah.
also you need to walk around and make sure you're doing what you can to build relationships with these people socially. And that's something that I have familiarity doing on Big Brother. I had familiarity doing it on the challenge. Didn't really get to do it on reindeer games.
That was just
But
too fast paced.
yeah, no, it was he's big, strong, he's done competitions, get him. So yeah, it was even though there wasn't a ton of time, there was still enough time for me to try to make those connections with the players that were there, and I would say um, I think it was pretty effective.
Yeah, and I think with this show, you show off a lot of your humor too. And being a veteran of this reality competition, what do you think is
Yeah,
the biggest mistake that a first-time player should avoid in this environment?
avoid talking too much. Avoid literally avoid talking too much. I think you don't really want to be seen as like a leader. I think you don't want to really, at least not like for me, I think people were just going to assume I was a leader because I've done it already. So like, I can't really
Mm,
fight that. But if you're someone who like, no, like, for example, to my knowledge, Casey, Tyrena, Lily, um, who else was there? I don't think Dylan's done any prior reality competition. So these are all players where it's like, don't give people reasons to like think that you're like this top notch gamer. Like, just kind of lay low, be easy, and just kind of navigate the game that way. So like, don't get caught up leading conversations. Don't get caught up doing too much too fast. Um, which like that's a big thing that you see on Big Brother is like someone who's a super fan comes on the show
yeah.
and then they just like super fan it up and they do way too much too soon and it bites them in the butt. They either go home early or like at some point down the line, it just kind of they do too much and it ends up costing them their game.